Market update time. Welcome back, everybody. Got some interesting developments to share with you. We've been watching the charts close. Want to get you fed up on what's going on? Let's get it. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Glad to have you. If you haven't done so, please go hit the like button here, comment, and subscribe while you're at it. The more likes we get, the more comments we get, and the more subscribers we get, the more people we can reach, the more people we can help. If you haven't done so, please take advantage of our half off Discord. Right here you go, launchpass.com/these786 assassins /half off. It's only $8 a month. That's for a limited time. Price will go up with demand. That's how supply and demand works. Get the discount while you can, folks. Don't miss out. Now I want to dive into something here. I've been watching these charts really close. Had some interesting developments as in the last couple days here. And this week's very important with all the economic news that is coming out. We kind of already know what's going to happen, but regardless, a lot of people like to talk about it. Let's start this off with Bitcoin, shall we? And we shall. As you see, we are currently holding the 382 fib. The 382 fib is on the continuation up. What does that even mean? Well, we had a very large downtrend that finally broke right around here in January 19th. It actually found the bottom down here, but the trend actually officially broke up here, then retested right here where I bought it roughly 20,000. It was actually like 19.5. Retested that trend line there. It broke back through the 236 line, which was 22,000 roughly. After that, we broke the 382 fib, and now, as you see, we are sitting right on top of this. And this is just the regular Binance chart, not the Bitcoin CME chart, which I'll share with you in a moment. But 382 fib is a continuation fib as well. And as you see, we've jumped over it. It's holding on to it perfectly, creating support. So long as the price holds 27,400 roughly, you can call it 27,000 flat if you like. So long as the price continues to hold that, we're in an okay spot here. Yes, it's a little up and down. Yes, it's a little bouncy, and I know you don't like it, but there's also a trend line right here. If you exclude this one piece of down, there's a bit of a trend line right here, and you could argue that there's even a bit of a parallel channel, which I'll draw for you here now. You could argue that this channel is valid, and that it's just riding that channel back and forth. Very nice. And I would in fact say that it goes back a little farther than that, connecting back to the previous run up it had in January. So as long as things continue in this track, I still think we have May and June of sideways and up. There will be occasional down there. That's not a guarantee. I don't do financial advice, not a financial advisor. I just spend way too much time reading charts. Now, this channel is continuing to hold valid. If it does, we have a likely move toward 32,000, 33,000 here. And all this is going to run out roughly in June-ish. Now, that's based on Fibonacci retracement and time cycles. We can kind of see the cycle coming, and we can see how the cycle repeats. So we're kind of mimicking it to a degree within a couple weeks, back and forth. I say June, but that it could be any time in the month of June or any time in the month of July. I'm just giving you kind of a roundabout figure there. Very good. Now, I've moved over to the Bitcoin futures chart, CME chart, which is BTC 1 exclamation point. This chart shows something similar, only a little different, okay? The prices are a little different because the CME chart's a little more smooth and a little more fluid. It has gaps because it closes on the weekends and then reopens on Sunday night. There are some gaps in this chart, which we'll get to in a moment, but same situation where we're sitting on top of the 382 fib at roughly 26,009 or roughly 27,000, right? Call it roughly 27. If we can break this orange line, which is one of our resistance levels here, that's at roughly 30,000 flat. That's going to have to crack and hold, not just get over, but break it and hold it with a candle closing up here above the orange line. And I'll zoom in a little bit better where you can see it a little more. Anywhere up here in this region is good. That's breaking the previous high and kind of sets the stage for a move up toward 32,000, 33,000-ish, which is at this 50 fib, which is just like the Binance chart, only a little different level, right? Is it possible we go farther than that? Yes, it is. I'll leave you by saying the same thing runs out roughly in June. However, if this gets to the 618 fib, 38,700, be lovely. As you see, it's kind of ridden this white line, which was that same channel line that I drew a moment ago, kind of ridden that white line up. And until this fails, I'm inclined to believe that it continues. Again, we have more news coming tomorrow. There's different things that come out all through the month, economic events, right? We're kind of ahead of that. We can kind of see it coming. So we try to prepare the best we can. Very good. Dollar index, which is kind of inverse to risk assets. And when I say risk assets, I don't just mean Bitcoin. I mean all crypto, all stocks, all equities, all funds, all indexes. The dollar kind of moves opposite of those. Essentially, when it's too high risk to be in something, money gets sent over into dollars or the native currency of whichever country you live in. That money gets flipped in from a risk to a lower risk, right? When this goes up, that tends to happen. As you see, this showed some signs of wanting to go up just recently, and today was a JOLTS report, or jobs opening and labor trends. That's what JOLTS kind of stands for. New jobs weren't created at the pace that they thought they would be. So you see the dollar index kind of struggle, meaning that people are going to go into risk assets. Now, that being said, it is above the 821 EMA, and I had no indicators up here. I wanted you to see it without any indicators. It's still above the 821 EMA. However, you don't have an 821 cross just yet, so be careful. It did bounce support. Worst case Ontario here, this thing rides up and tags this trend line and fades. Another likely scenario is you get some sort of something that looks like this, where this thing bounces around and eventually makes a move and cracks this trend. I think this eventually happens. I don't think it will happen until after summer, but it could be a correlation there with a little bit of a crossover between the summer and the fall. I think still the fall and the winter are going to be our worst times, and that'll be the best buying opportunities that we get, which is either Q4 2023 or roughly Q1 2024. That's when halvening is about to start. We may get one more move down then, but we'll get there when we get there, one step at a time. Sweet. So last one we'll look at here is a very heavily requested one, DAG or Constellation. I get a lot of grief and a lot of support at the same time about this, and I want to make sure everyone knows that it's both, not just one. It's, you know, I get it. People get married to their assets. I'm not married to anything. Literally. But people get married to their assets, and I don't know if you should do that or not, but it's not something for me. I've generally found out that that was a bad idea. So, wanted to talk to you about why I recently purchased this. Well, I'll tell you. So, you have this value support zone that I've written here. Why did I write that? Well, if you look back to the previous run, all the way back in June of 18, this is where we had a bit of chop and price action. Then we had similar action in October of 19, November of 19, followed by the same thing in August of 20. You had all these areas here that kind of peaked out at the same level, which created a bit of resistance. Now, once you broke that resistance, which was here in 2021, roughly February, you came back down and retested that same now support in May. All this becomes a point of support overall because the price is still above it. Once price fails to continue its uptrend, which it very much did not, and I think we can all agree it did not, it failed that uptrend right there. It created a downtrend, and now we look back to support to find areas of potential bounces. So, well, that was this area. Furthermore, if I take it a step farther and I draw Fibonacci retracement from the recent low, which was December 21, or the long-term low, not recent low, 2021, and I'll pull that all the way up to the top up here. I'll pull this all the way over here so I can kind of see the move. And I'm trying to line this up with some wicks here and stuff so that it's kind of trend dependent right here. All right, that's kind of close. I see that we kind of stopped directly on the 618 fib and have since forth bounced two large wicks off of it, which is very good. That's an indication of buy pressure. Now, this is a weekly chart, not a daily chart, so this isn't going to play out in a hurry. It's going to take some time to develop. It still has not broken this big yellow line right here. Until it does, it's a point of contention. This is still high risk, high reward. So once it breaks trend, then we can start talking about bullish. And I wrote that right here. Break and hold the trend line for a bullish sentiment. We haven't done that yet. So it's of my opinion that it's probably best to wait for this thing to break trend. Now I'm going to jump over to trading view so you can see the other side of the coin. All right. if I pull this trend from the top down, because this was a downtrend, and let's assume for a moment, I don't like assuming, but let's assume for a moment that the top's already in and the bottom's already in. We pull this down, follow our trend, and stop at our bottom while continuing to follow our trend at the same time. What do you get? Targets of retracement back up, and you see how well this thing respected these targets along the way. So each line has been very well respected. This tells me that this is probably near the bottom here. If not exactly, it's close to it. So next points of contention are the trend line that we haven't broken and about 5.5 cents, which is the 236 fib. Now this one's going to run a little longer till probably September or so, maybe even October. Hard to say. But we did notice that DAG ran at a different time interval than Bitcoin did last time and most alts. It was a little different. So since that's the case, we got to treat this one a little differently. I've got this yellow box drawn over here as the optimal sell period. This is based on fib time zones and what we think the cycle will play out to be. And that's if we're at the bottom already. All right. If that's the case, it's going to be roughly somewhere around summer of 2024. We'll know closer to time when we get there. We'll be following the trend as it plays out. We'll have Fibonacci retracement to help us. Just kind of how I see it. With all that being said, thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you coming on here. We'll be live Thursday, 11 p.m. for our Crypto After Dark. See you guys then. If don't forget, please take advantage of this half off link. It's $8 to be around some of the biggest, brightest minds in TA. We work charts nonstop. No BS, no filters, just straight up data. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next live stream. In the words of the late, great, notorious B.I.G., you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. I appreciate that. Thank y'all. See y'all then. Be good. Peace.